Today we're here to talk about 10 things I wish I knew before starting my producing journey. I hope at least some of those can help you too if you are planning to become a producer, if you're toying with the thought, or if you've just started out. Very quickly about me, I've been producing for about 2 years, so I am by no means an expert yet, but I have taken part in a 1-year producing program, which is coming to an end now, and I have released an album and 2 singles on top of that. So I have some experience producing, but I am not a super experienced producer yet. I do want to put it out there. My number one point is use whatever DAW you want. Like, in the end, there are not massive difference. Of course there is some difference, but in the end, it's about your preferences, about which one you feel best with. And if you don't feel good with the DAW you're using, then just switch to another one. Things are going to be a little bit different, but in the end, all DAWs or most DAWs have a lot of very, very similar things going on for them. And they, in the end, work very similarly too. So just use whichever one you like and make your life easier with that, honestly. I use Ableton, and I am very happy with Ableton. I used to use a different one before that, and it served the purpose at the time, but it's nowhere near as good as Ableton. It's also not a famous one, so I'm not even going to mention the name. Point number 2, in the end, to become a good producer, it really only takes a lot of regular practice and experimentation and just doing it and doing it and doing it again. And I personally think that everyone with somewhat of a musical ear can definitely learn to be a good producer. I mean, there are some technical sides to producing, and those are not always so easy to learn for everyone. But at the same time, you can just look them up on YouTube, especially if you know what you're looking for and what you want to improve. It's easiest then, of course. But what I think is important, that you have a bit of a musical ear, so you learn to understand and are able to experiment with different pianos, guitars, synths, drums. You can of course learn to do that even if you're not an expert in anything music related. It's absolutely possible. It just takes a little bit longer. Like, producing is something that just takes time, and it takes a lot of regular practice. So just do that, and honestly, then there's nothing stopping you in the end. Number 3 for me is keep listening to diverse music. I think that's important for everyone that works in the music business, because in the end, music is so many diverse genres and subgenres, and those all, or very many of them, take a little bit from a lot of other things. So it's a very complicated net of just everything connected to everything in a way. But it's not really just meant to stay on top of trends, because trends come and go. To inspire you. Listening to diverse music inspires your work too, makes it diverse, makes it maybe stand out from what the other people in your genre are doing, and that's a good thing. Number 4, keep playing, keep having fun, keep experimenting. I think the playing around and experimenting is especially a very important thing at first when you start out, because you likely are not going to know a ton of stuff about it yet. But I think it's also important to keep experimenting as you grow more experienced. I know that for myself, like, I do not experiment very much with it anymore, with my DAW, with music in general. I feel like I have found a region where I'm comfortable in making music, but I rarely stray outside of that. So recently I've been challenging myself to listen to new and diverse music and to really soak it up and maybe use some inspiration from that too, so that not everything sounds too similar, because that's something I have noticed too. For me, who has produced it, it sounds very similar. In the end, that's not necessarily always just a bad thing, because if you are producing things that are very similar to each other, you have kind of found your brand probably. But you can't make them sound too similar, otherwise it gets boring. So keep experimenting, keep playing, even as you get to the advanced stages. Number 5, be patient. Becoming a producer, being a producer, it takes time. It takes a lot of time and practice and effort that you need to put in. So be patient, keep working on it. Honestly, just don't complain about how long it takes, because it just takes a while. And you, of course, connect with other people who feel the same, because it can be very frustrating. Also, I would like to say that there are no actual shortcuts to becoming a really good music producer. You just need to put in the work. Just do it. Honestly, we've all done it. We're all still doing it. Number 6, producing can be a very lonely journey. And I struggled with that at first, that I was producing alone with nobody to connect with for like the first year of my producing journey. What helped me was to join a course and to connect via social media. So now I am partaking in a course where there's a community of female producers that are all just here for that one thing, to produce music and to learn to produce better music and everything that goes into producing music, because it's honestly more than just slapping a synth on there and playing a few nice chords. Connect. In the age of social media, it is so easy to find some other producers, newer producers, not so new producers. Ask them questions, comment on their work, be supportive. Honestly, most producers like connecting because, as I already said, it's a very solitary job. So when we actually put things out there on social media, we do want feedback, we do want connection, we do want a like, stuff like that. So connect, we're very open to it. I've never met a producer who wasn't really happy about connecting. My next point is, if you want to gain a following on social media, start posting. You don't have to wait until you're a really good producer to start sharing your work, because the journey of getting there is also interesting. And the part where you're just maybe an okay or a good producer, I feel like that part is more likely where you will find fellow producers and musicians to connect with than when you're already a super great one, where you feel kind of untouchable for anyone but big artists. And the thing is, you can build your social media step by step if you're still on your starting journey too. People like listening to how people started out and what they're doing, what they're learning, because they can learn something from that too sometimes. Like, I regularly watch producing content, and though I would say that by now I understand a lot of the things, the smaller details related to producing, there are always also things where I'm like, that person mentioned that in the video and I'm not familiar enough with this, so I will go look it up and maybe see if this specific social media person has more on this. So if you want to build a following, just post. Keep posting. I've been doing it too. I have shared not so much my producing journey, but more my singing journey. And you can literally see the improvements over the last year that I've been taking vocal lessons. And some people have been with me through that journey and some have not. And they find me now that I'm a lot more skilled and that I found my own voice a lot more. So it's very interesting for people to see that journey and to be able to go back to older videos of you and be like, that's how they started out. Maybe it's not actually impossible to do. It's encouraging for people who watch it too sometimes. The next one is a very important one in my opinion. So it's about intentions. It doesn't matter if you want to do producing as a hobby or professionally. You do you. You pick your path, the one that fits in with your life right now. And things can obviously change in the future. When I started producing 2 years ago, I also wasn't like, oh my God, I want to be a producer. I started out from a perspective where I was like, I need this to put out my songs in a way that I'm content with it. I need to produce in order to share my music. Producing was a means to an end for me for a very long time. And it was also kind of a hobby because I love tinkering around with music. And if I get to slap intense strings on anything, I am in music heaven. Random side note. But now I think it is part of my profession. In a way, I am doing it professionally. Yes, I will probably always see myself more as a singer and songwriter, but in the end, I am also a producer. No, I'm not perfect. No, I'm not making millions with it yet. Gotta do positive self-talk. I'm not making millions with it yet, but I am in the process of getting to a point where I will be doing this professionally because I am a singer and a songwriter, and this is a tool for me that means that I can do music in the way that I want to do it and not be dependent so much on other people. Yes, I do have a mastering engineer, like very, very many producers. But that is the only other person that really touches my music because I also mix it myself. This is something that I'm still very much working on because I feel like I have the producing down pretty well. The mixing is still something that I have to work on, especially with the vocals. But the important point here is it is essential that you just do what you want, honestly. Pursue it to the degree that you want to. Maybe that'll change. Maybe it'll always be a hobby. Maybe you start producing and you know you want to do this professionally. Then do it that way. Never let anybody make you feel bad about your dreams. Your family, your friends, your coworkers, whoever. This is your life, so you live it the you want. Swear word for good measure there. My last point is actually a more specific one. So if you're just doing instrumental producing and you don't have anything to do with vocal producing or vocal recording and that kind of stuff, then you can skip this. It's fine. But one thing that I found is very, 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 very essential is vocal producing and vocal processing. This is so important and is something that I wish I had paid closer attention to earlier. Of course, I paid it some attention when I was like, yeah, I think it works kind of like this, until I actually got instructions or started getting instructions. It's still in process. I'm still learning a lot in that area on what to pay attention to and to what degree and how to do it. Vocal processing is so specific. And also vocal recording, it's so specific. You have to be aware of so many things and you have to look into so many things in order to do it really well. So a few things I will mention here that are good to look up. If you're not already familiar with them, of course. So when you're recording vocal harmonies, either you learn to do vocal harmonies if you're producing for yourself, or you ask someone to do them for you, because harmonizing is an art form and science of its own. That is very important when recording. Listen to popular music, study it, learn from it what harmonizing can be like if you want to learn it yourself. Also, to be able to ask people who come in to have their harmonies recorded. Learn to be able to ask them for the right things. Also, when you're recording, obviously a good mic. You need a good mic. You need some space around it that has some soundproofing for it to be better recorded. Then we get to the things that are more the processing part and the mixing part. EQ. Learn to do EQ properly. EQ is one of the very good things that we have in producing. Compression. This is one that I am still very much working on. Learn how to compress vocals properly and well. Panning. This one is more important for the backing vocals, of course, because you don't pan the main vocals. Learn how to do panning well so that it's not overlapping too much, it's not being cut out by other things, it's not coming from the exact same places, so that you can create space and it doesn't sound like it's all coming from the middle. There are so many more things, how to properly do delay and reverb so that the voice doesn't kind of get lost and is not as front and center. Vocal processing. If you don't know enough about it, it's a good thing to look up and to learn more in-depth things about. These are 10 things I wish I had known. If there's anything you wish you had known before you started producing, please share it below. The more we know, the better. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. See you soon.